Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi out here. It's Sunday morning, and I'm doing a reaction to the NBA All Star Saturday night in San Francisco, Golden State. And yeah, they had the dunk contest, the 3-point shootout, the skills competition yesterday. And there's a lot of Raptors connections in different ways on this All Star weekend. Of course, Siakam is an All Star again this year, and his journey as even as a Pacer is something that Raptors Nation can share with him as a great GROAT. And of course, Norman Powell being in a 3-point contest and getting to watch him and cheer him on in the 3-point contest. He's a huge Raptor icon from Raptors championship and playoff Powell. Yeah, there's a lot of connections. They even did a whole tribute to Vince Carter last night on the dunk night, of course, for 25-year anniversary of his amazing dunk competition in 2000. So there was a lot of Raptors connections last night, even if there were no present Raptors involved in any of the activities last night. It was a pretty entertaining night. I have to say this NBA All Star Weekend so far this weekend, Adam Silver is better than the last couple years. I feel like it's been pretty good. I thought that the format for the Rising Stars Challenge went really well on Friday night, and I think it's going to go well today for the All Star game. I think that format is going to be a real winner, and it actually is going to help the All Stars. So I'm going to make the prediction right now that the way that they have the All Star game this year is going to actually be a huge success. The guys are going to actually get off their ass and play a real all-star game this year. Watch, because this is a competitive kind of situation that's different than the regular all-star game. And, I love it what Siakam said. This is what Siakam said in press conference yesterday. He said, if the guys decide they want to play, well, I'll play. But if they don't want to play, well, then I won't play. So he's going to go with the flow. If he sees people competing at the All-Star game, he's going to compete himself, is what he said. But if they decide they're going to just take the game off, well, he'll go with the flow, whatever the crowd's going to do. So Siakam's ready to compete in the All-Star game today if everybody decides that it's going to be like that. And I feel like it's going to be like that. These guys are competitive kind of people, and, it's a tournament. And you don't want to be one of the teams that gets kicked out in the first round. You don't want to be Shaq's team and get lost to Team Candace. There's saving face and trying to, these guys all want to win. So in some ways, I think the tournament format makes it more competitive for that, because there's only going to be like one out of the four teams that wins. So I think this is going to really work, y'all. Seriously. All in theory, it's going to. The Rising Stars Challenge was competitive and it was good basketball. Well, why won't the All-Star game be like that tonight for a change? I'm going to say this right now. I think this All-Star game is going to be really good. Y'all are going to be shocked. So, yeah, we'll get ready for that. All right, I'll get in the comments. We got all the normal stuff, Instagram stories, the classic car of the day. I even have a Reddit reaction if you guys want me to do a Reddit reaction. And we'll do a Scout of the Day again today if you guys want, because, there's not a whole lot to talk about other than the results of this the dunk competition and all that kind of stuff last night. There's been a couple of little things that are really fun. Grady's awesome. I love Grady. Grady at the All-Star weekend, of course, is a rising star. And I'll wait till the Instagram stories to talk about what I've discovered because of Grady from last night. It's so funny. It is so funny. It had me laughing for 5 minutes straight this morning what I saw on Grady Dick's Instagram stories. So we'll tell you what that is in a sec. Trevor J's words of wisdom first thing in the morning say, working hard for something we don't care about is called stress. Working hard for something we love is called passion. Yeah. If you're lucky and you earn a living doing something that you love, it is definitely a passion. And that's what ideal for anyone is, to be able to put all their working effort and energy into something that not only pays your bills, but is very, very satisfying to your soul because you feel fun and having fun about it. Yeah, working your passion and your dream job is a great, great thing. And I wish people would allow people to do this. I'm hearing all these sad stories about great park rangers that look out for the parks down in the United States that are getting sent packing by the idiots that are running the United States right now. Yeah, it's too bad. Dream jobs are being lost in the United States right now because of selfish billionaires. Anyway, let's keep going. Trevor's saying that Mac, for a little guy, he can jump. Yeah, it's the Mac McClung section of the night, the dunk competition now, 3 years in a row. He did something last night that no one has ever done in the history of the NBA in the dunk contest. He won 3 consecutive dunk competitions. Now, other people have won 3 dunk competitions, but not in a row. Michael has 3, I believe. I believe Michael Jordan's got 3 dunk championships. I think Dominique might have 3 also. So Mac McClung made history last night, becoming a three-peat dunk champion for the first time. And I'll say his dunks were very impressive. I liked the car dunk. I thought the car dunk was pretty good right off the bat. It's like he came out with the big prop right away. The dunk where he dunked over the guy on the hoverboard where he was spinning around and then got the second ball off the guy holding it on the ladder. That was pretty good too. Like all of his dunks were very, very good. And he did deserve to win the dunk competition. But Steph Castle wasn't that bad at all either. The other 2 guys were bad. Yeah, Jackson and Buzelis, they didn't do a good job of executing their dunks. And they made they were making the dunk contest look bad. I think I'll critique each of them. Buzelis was just rushing too much. In some ways, his dunk was really hard to do with bouncing the ball off the floor. Like I feel like the ball was not cooperating with him. If that had been a regulation NBA game ball instead of a weird blue plastic rubber ball, it was what it looked like. It had no bounce. It bounced very flat. And it almost seemed like the ball that was given to Mattis was ineffective, maybe on purpose. I don't know, but he couldn't get that ball to bounce. He would have made that dunk if he had a more normal game ball for the NBA. That first dunk that the young Bulls rookie tried to do. But yeah, it was a disaster. He never got that dunk pulled off exactly right. And when you don't get a dunk done, you get a really bad score and you're not going to get to the next round. You honestly got to complete all your dunks and at least get a decent score. Jackson was a weird one though. I felt like Jackson, listen, they were celebrating Vince Carter last night for his amazing dunk competition 25 years ago. The thing about Vince was he was the proper middle of very, very, very powerful dunking with elegance and finesse and body control in the air. That's why Vince is so good. Vince is able to be dynamic like a ballet dancer in the air with his gliding and his form and just making it look very effortless. And even when Vince is watching this dunk contest last night, he's saying they're going too fast. They're going too fast. And he's right because he's rushing the dunk. And specifically for Andre Jackson Jr., that man was trying to kill the rim every time he came at it. You're over percentaging the power in your dunks. If you want to be a power dunker, that's fine, but you're not going to have accuracy and you're going to mess up because you're throwing it too strong instead of really thinking about where your body's going with muscle control and getting more like Vince with the proper balance of grace and power. You had too much power there, Action Jackson, and it totally screwed you up in this dunk competition. You rushed things and you did that. I like that one dunk, though, where they put it through the hoop and then you put it back in. That was Steph Castle, though. That was Steph Castle. When the guy shot it through the hoop and then he brought it back and put it back in, that was pretty inventive. Most dunks have all been done. It's like we don't see anything new. And, well, there were a couple of dunks last night where I was like, wow, I've never actually seen that done before. And that one by Castle where the guy shot a free throw and it was coming through the basket and he had to catch it and come up. And once again, Vince is exactly right. It's like he could workshop these dunks for them. He's like, he's got to wait for the ball to come through the net. He's not letting the ball come through the net to catch it and put it through. Man, they should have been listening to Vince. Vince should have been their dunking coach and stuff like that. But yeah, Mac McClung won. He did a really good job of executing the dunks on the first attempt, which is really, in some ways, he did way more difficult dunks than those other guys. And he actually executed them on the first attempt, which is fantastic. I thought Castle was very good too. Very, very good. Now, I love what they were saying at the end of this competition, where they were saying, yeah, John Morant doesn't want to smoke. Well, apparently he might, because he was tweeting last night that watching Mac McClung makes me almost want to go and do the dunk contest. And then Giannis chimed in and said, Ja, if you do the dunk contest, I'll join you and I'll do it too. Well, maybe we will get high caliber stars back in the dunk contest soon enough. Because honestly, that's part of why the dunk contest has sucked the last couple of years. A G League guy keeps winning it, and a bunch of no names are his competition. So yeah, it sucks. They get the big names out there. I mean, this competition was made for Ja Morant. Ja Morant, you are a coward until you step up and do the dunk competition, bro. No excuses. You're not suspended anymore. If you're not hurt, you should be showing up for All-Star weekend and throwing it down, especially since, wait, you're not an All-Star this year, are you? Is he on the All-Star team? I don't even remember. Did Ja Morant make the All-Star team? I don't think he did. It's interesting. Very, very interesting. But good job by Mac. I'm not going to hate on him. He has a real talent. That man can jump. Whoa, he can jump. But as they said, it's a G League guy winning the NBA dunk competition 3 years in a row. Kurthika has put out on Blue Skies this morning, Kurthika stats from TSN, that Mac McClung has made more money in dunk competitions than actual basketball salary from his contracts. That's crazy, isn't it? That's kind of cool, man. Trevor's saying Chris and Victor tried to cheat and got disqualified. Yeah. I was watching the skills competition with the sound down, so I wasn't really totally paying attention to it, but visually. And I was watching the Spurs go first, and very right off the bat, Victor goes and does the passing part, and then he gets the racks of balls, and I just see him start throwing it like he's throwing water out of a boat. He's like throwing the balls over and over and over. I was like, oh, that's smart. Why is he doing it that way? And I watched him and I did it, and then I saw Chris do it too when he did his turn, the Spurs team. I was like, those guys are geniuses. They're going to get a really short time because they really just threw the balls off the rack instead of going through the shooting motion and trying to shoot each one to make the shot. Well, little did we know that Victor was too smart for his own good. He owned up to it. It was his idea. He thought about it all. He's a smart guy because honestly, you know what? This messed them up and they got disqualified, but he tried to game this game. And let's not get it twisted. In past years with the skills competition, some of these players have won the skills competition by finding the little loophole to cheat it to try and win it. Well, Victor thought he had figured it out, but he was wrong. And apparently they had some guy had to come over and show him the rules and show it to his face and say, look, this says right here, you have to shoot the shots. You can't just fling them out like you're buckets, throwing buckets of water out of a car or a boat out of a car. But yeah, that's what they did. I thought they were geniuses at the time. But then I realized after a sec, like they did, that they got disqualified for doing that. I really shaved their time down. I was like, man, they're geniuses. The Spurs are geniuses. But no, they were disqualified. Disqualified for not actually taking the shots. Because then I saw the French guys come up, the rookies, and Risa Shea and Sar were shooting the shots. And I was like, oh, they're going to take way longer because they didn't do what the Spurs did. Well, it's so funny. In some ways, they look heartbroken. But man, what a bonding experience for Chris Paul and Victor Wembanyama to sit there and kind of feel a little humiliated, but not really. I mean, they shouldn't. That was a genius idea, Victor. I'm not going to lie. That was genius. It just wasn't for the rules. And, sitting there with that veteran Chris Paul next to you, you guys bonded on that. And Chris was probably like, oh, listen, man, this doesn't matter, man. Honestly, they would probably waiting to disqualify us because, Scott Foster, he hates me. It could be shit like that, So Victor did look a little like disturbed about it because, he's been such a good guy this weekend. He stayed away from rising stars to give Steph Castle the spotlight, and he had his competition. He wanted to make a big splash in the skills competition and win it, obviously. Well, he got himself DQ'd. It is what it is. Of course, the Cleveland Cavaliers won that skills competition. Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. And you know what? Honestly, they didn't even do that course that well. Evan Mobley shot horrible, and they just kind of happened to be the best team otherwise. I wonder how well Victor and Chris would have done if they hadn't done that and they just shot the balls. Who knows? They may have won anyway. So we'll never know. We'll never know. The skills competition is a skills competition, and Cleveland won. Cleveland won the skills competition. It is what it is. A learning lesson for young Victor. That's right. Alan Tam Bam son is here. McClung, a 3-time 2025 dunk contest champion. Yeah, that's impressive. It is impressive. And he said at the end, like, if they ask me to come back, I'll probably come back again next year. Why not? I mean, it's like they're printing out money for him every year. It's like, well, he has a specialty, he has a gift to be able to jump over cars and people and dunk it. Evan Mobley, Shaq, just add the list. But I will say this, Mac, you need to watch out because your dunks are getting a little bit cliche as far as I'm going to jump over a person or an object. You might, like, I was dying for this. Mac, we've seen a lot in the last 3 years of what you can do dunking. What if you did something totally different than your style of what you usually do? Like, what if you tried to do like a free throw line dunk, or just try to mix it up and do something that isn't totally your signature wheelhouse of what your specialty is to get jump over things? I'm just saying it might be really an interesting wrinkle if you're going to come back next year for a fourth time and compete again. You might want to get a totally different kind of dunk that is going to throw everybody off like a curveball and say, holy crap, that's not what he usually does. He usually does something where he jumps over somebody, hits the front of the rim, and puts it in like he did last night. So I'd be curious to see if Mac McClung could be a little bit more creative with what he could do if he comes back next year. And that'd be really interesting if John Morant is there to face him. That would be very, very interesting. Bam, son. Thank you, Alan Tam. Bam, son. Thanks for being here this morning on a snowy Sunday in February here in Ontario. That's right. James is here. Good to see Raptor Freak James. Orlando just signed him to win the dunk contest every year. Laugh out loud. I always joke that too, that Mac McClung is just a specialty professional dunker. But you know what? The last time the Osceola Magic played the Raptors 905, they kicked our ass. And he specifically led them. He got like over 30 points and was the most dominant player on the court. So it is somewhat true what you're saying as far as he's around in some ways at the All-Star weekend because of his dunking. But I don't think he's on the Osceola Magic just for that, because he's a very good player. He's led the G League in scoring, and he has been an MVP of the whole entire league before. So that's not necessarily a guy who's just known for his dunking. He does have some skills. It's just he's not big enough to play at the NBA level. That's really what it is. He's such a little guy that it's really hard for him to play at the NBA size and level. But man, he's good enough to play G League. Let's just put it that way, because he, like I said, he's been the leading scorer for the G League and an MVP of the G League. And he killed us the last time he played our G League team. Him specifically absolutely dominated us and beat our ass. Nameless is here. Good to see Nameless. Wow, the Raptors were heavily pursuing DeAndre Hunter as well as BI. So you heard this rumor and this thing about that? Well, I'm glad that we got Brandon then, because DeAndre's great, but there's levels to this. Now, I feel like Ingram is a whole other level over Hunter. Now, Hunter may be cheaper. In some ways, he may do some of the same things that we want Brandon to do soon. One of the things I've been thinking about more with Brandon is how he's going to develop more as a defensive player. He has incredible length, a wingspan, and he's very agile and quick around. And, there may be more asking of him to focus more of his energy on defensive stuff for the Raptors going forward. A lot of the teams he's been on, well, the Pelicans more recently, have not really probably demanded as much from him for defense as Darko's going to demand of him. So in some ways, some of the energy expenditure that Brandon Ingram put towards just scoring in the past may be going towards defensive efforts with our team. And I think he'll be a very good defender. In fact, he's probably really excited about it. His interviews say that he wants to be a well-rounded player. He's not necessarily just a selfish guy who just wants to shoot all the time. He likes to pass it, and he does want to play defense. So I'm very excited to see how Brandon becomes a more well-rounded player in some ways, showing off maybe some more defensive chops than we've ever seen from him in his career. That'll be very fun, man. Yeah, and that's part of the reason why they may have been interested in DeAndre Hunter also, because his long arms, he has a defensive presence also. This is going to be very useful for the Cleveland Cavaliers in their playoff run this year after acquiring him. Yeah, let's see. Alan's saying this. I read McClung made $132,000 in his NBA career in three-point dunk contest, $310,000. He made more money in dunk contests in an NBA career. Yeah. Now, she did say that she's not adding in the G League contracts because they're not part of it, but in some ways they're not very big, so they're not going to make up that difference. Yeah, he's made twice as much money playing in the dunk contests than actually playing in his career. That's what I'm saying, man. This guy, if he doesn't want to play G League and try and grind out, get in the NBA anymore, that man could be and one. That guy could go and join the Harlem Globetrotters. That guy could go do all kinds of different stuff, like any kind of showcase kind of touring group that has dunkers and stuff like that. And he's famous. So everybody's going to know who he is, and he'll get like crowds just off his name. So yeah, he's got a career for as long as he can dunk like that, as long as he can dunk like that. What's even crazier, I mean, what if he did this? What if he became like the Raptor and he became a dude that's a mascot and he did all those dunks as a mascot? That would be incredible. But no, he wants to play, and rightfully so. He's a basketball player, but he can dunk really good. Alan Tam's bringing up something that happened yesterday that I thought was hilarious. Yeah, in the pregame show, the Inside the NBA guys, Kenny, Shaq, and Chuck and Ernie had Vince Carter outside with them in the little plaza where the Golden State Warriors fans congregate, and that's where Chuck said some things. He got booed in the years past, but yeah, Vince was there with them, and Shaquille O'Neal offered Vince $50 million at first to try and recreate one of his dunks at his age in the dunk contest. He said, Vince, I'll give you 50 million if you try and do your dunk tonight. And Vince went, guys, can you tell me where the nearest hospital is if we're going to do that? And then Shaq doubled down. He said, Vince, I'll give you 200 million if you do it. And then the other guy said, he got that. He has that money. Kenny Smith said, yeah. I think Shaq has 200 million. He could pay you that. That's just good stuff, man. There really was, like, Vince Carter was the belle of the ball to a degree last night, like the honorary guest of honor. They did a real tribute to his 25th anniversary of his dunk competition in Oakland from a long time ago. They had him come out. They had a really cool feature with people that were talking about where they were when he was doing it, including his cousin Tracy McGrady, who's saying, I was sitting on the bench here. I saw what he did. And all of us that were competing with him knew it was over and we weren't going to beat him. And then it's like Shaq's like, I was standing here with my camera and I filmed it all. And I didn't even know at that time I would be recording history and that something amazing was about to happen. It was a really cool little segment. And I love the whole part before the whole All-Star Saturday night last night with Tracy and Vince sitting and reminiscing about that whole day and saying, like, Vince saying stuff like, yeah, this is what you dream about. You're going to be in the dunk contest with your cousin, your real blood cousin, and you're going to be involved in it. And then them talking about how they didn't have any rehearsal. And when they showed up, because they showed up late, they told them, you guys are going to have partners. And they had no idea in preparing for that Tracy was going to help Vince with some of the dunks because they didn't know that was one of the rules. They sprung it on them before. So they were completely doing everything impromptu. And it's just the great connection and the trust of the two of them that allowed Tracy to do the bounce to get Vince that dunk. In some ways, they said Tracy didn't even know what Vince was going to do because they'd never practiced it. He said, just bounce it. I'll take care of the rest. That's amazing to me. You got to think about how nerve-wracking it is to be in the dunk competition. Look at what happened to some of those guys last night after they kept missing and everybody's watching. You don't even practice it, let alone know that you're going to do that particular dunk that night. That makes the whole Vince Carter thing that he did even more crazy. I mean, he even elaborated last night that the first dunk was a dunk that he had attempted in practice many, many times, the 360 windmill dunk. And he never actually gotten it correctly right, but he felt juiced from coming into the arena for the dunk competition. He's like, I'm going to go ahead and do it and try it now. And he pulled it off. But it was a dunk he had never done in his life, apparently. He tried over and over again, and he did it. He finally did it in the dunk competition. The story behind it's amazing. And I love all that kind of stuff. Paul Jones's interview before he came out. The stuff about Kenny Smith saying, oh, you made my career, Vince. It's over. It's over. You made my career. And he's giving him kudos for that. One North Carolina guy to another. Yeah, it was just, you know what? And last night was a love fest for Vince. And you know what? I'm proud of him because he didn't disrespect his part being a Raptor at that time. In fact, it really meant a lot to me, Vince Carter, that you wore a purple suit with a purple tie last night. In some ways, that's your nod to show that, like, look, I was representing the Toronto franchise when I did this iconic dunk competition. And I just want to show the nod that, you know what, those colors are still run on me today because, we're good. We're good now. So, Vince, man, everything you did last night and everything about last night made me proud that you're a part of our Raptors history. And you know what? I'm back on the positive side with you. That stupid Raptors Delight documentary may have made me mad at you slightly for the last couple weeks, but I'm starting to come around again after the Dunkiversary apology and the way you handled this All-Star weekend by repping our color, even on the down low. And you didn't have to say anything much about Toronto or anything like that. It's your moment. You earned it because it was your dunk competition, but you were repping us, and you made homage to that by the purple suit. And that meant so much to me. Seriously, just little things like that matter to me. The most iconic dunk contest in the world done by the most iconic dunker was a Toronto Raptor at that time. And that matters to me. Yeah, that was amazing, man. Alan Tam saying, dang. And Brandon Ingram saying, what? Thumbs down. What are you saying about Brandon Ingram, my guy? Brandon's awesome. What are you talking about? 120 million for 3 years. What? You don't like that, Alan Tam? That's going to be a steal in the long run, my guy. Seriously, 40 million a year is about the sweet spot that I wanted. The talk was saying that before the deal was done, if you can get Brandon at 40 million a year, that's a steal. That's a real deal. Because I was hearing things like 43 million. I was hearing 45 million, Allen. So Bobby got the price right. That's part of the reason why they did it now. Now think about this, Alan Tam. How much does Fred VanVleet make a year? He makes 45 million. So you go ahead. You can go ahead and tell me that's a dookie deal, but you're wrong, my guy. You're going to see he's going to look real good in the next couple of years. The money's going up in the NBA, and it may not be going up in general society for everybody else, but the money's going up in the NBA because Amazon's getting involved, and there's going to be more money to pay these players. So just because the money looks big, and I don't know if you're telling me that you think it's a shit deal. No, it's not, Alan. If this guy stays healthy and he can play most of the games he's supposed to, this is going to be an incredible deal. Just trust me on this, Alan, okay? Just trust the Raptor streak on this. You got to see him come in and play for us first before you decide whether the deal we just gave Brandon Ingram is a bad deal or not. You got to give him a chance, seriously. And think about what the market is like right now, Alan Tam. This is like, and the other thing is Bobby made the price just right to fit right underneath the luxury tax. And we're going to be cruising and not paying into it because he can juggle this just right to stay underneath. And we could be one of the teams that actually gets paid by the luxury tax still, even with IQ, Scotty, Brandon, RJ, and Jakob, all of them under it. So I don't know where you're going with this poop deal here. Let's see. Name is saying BI has never worked with the caliber of medical staff that's in Toronto before in his life. Yeah, no, never. He just hasn't. Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. We'll see. We'll take it day by day. In some ways, we could be very impatient and say we want BI. We want BI. We want him out there. But in some ways, we know the direction of the team for the rest of the year, dictated by Masai, Bobby, Darko, and the medical staff, will take care of Brandon with the utmost priority being long-term health, not rushing him back, and really working with him to get him as healthy as possible. If there's cautionary tales around the league, like Joel Embiid, rushing people back too soon just gets them hurt even more or more time out. So we're not in a rush to get him back this season. Let's really, really work with him, with Dr. Alex, in the best way to absolutely heal his ankle as best as possible. And who knows, maybe that problem goes away for the rest of his career. And he's really managed very, very well so that he barely misses any games. If we were in dire need of his help right now for a playoff run or something like that, well, there'd be more pressure for him to play, but there isn't. So I just want to see naturally how they handle this and how he gets eased into playing with the Raptors on a roster. It may not be at any time this month. It may not be in March, but it could be in April, but it could be in March. I don't know. There's no druthers. We'll just have to see how it goes. Yeah, Nameless is saying Toronto leads in the use of medical technology. Trust me, I'm heavily invested in this sector. Interesting. Very interesting. You've got medical investments. Very cool, Nameless. Always good to learn new things about my paisano there. Monique is here. Superfan Mo in the house. You know what, Mo? I forgot to post your dunk picture. I'll make sure I do it today. It's been a busy weekend with a lot of things going on out here. So I just forgot to post it, but I'll make sure I'll post it today so you guys can all see the amazing half Mo, half amazing picture of her doing the Vince Carter dunk. It's so cool. It's so cool. I'll post it in the community tab of this channel after the stream. Mo's saying, good morning, Raptor Freak crew. We all knew no one was catching Mac McClung. Amazing tribute to Vince. Happy for Norm and Pascal. Great interview. Yeah, Siakam. Siakam's having a blast. First of all, he's got glasses that he's wearing this weekend that are a camera. He doesn't even have his camera or anything. He has it in his glasses, and he's been doing funny things. Like he had a press conference yesterday, and he filmed everybody asking him questions with his glasses, but he took them off at a certain time. Now, the weird thing was the press conference for Pascal yesterday was anything goes, no moderator. and they all came at him like at once, yelling questions at him. And Siakam's going, whoa, 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 whoa! I've never had this before. This is crazy. This is chaotic. Y'all are just shouting questions at me. I'm like, okay, I'll try and answer them. People are yelling French questions at him. People are yelling all kinds of questions at him. William Liu and all them out there, Lindsey Dunn, and he's just trying to answer. It was a really weird interview. He had never done any of those. And like some guy asked him, Siakam, what's the weirdest fan interaction you ever had? And Siakam's like, man, I don't have any weird interactions. It's just normal. Just normal. Nothing weird. Stuff like that. Ask them questions. So let's go look at the Instagram stories and we'll see what Siakam has been up to real quick in the last day or so. First of all, we got Jamal Shed. He's saying, yeah, point guard, one. And it's a guy for Houston that's playing for them now. I'm not sure who the name is, but he's celebrating his alma mater, the Houston Cougars. Wubbs was watching the dunk contest, and he's got a picture of Mac McClung jumping over the car on his Instagram. He's saying, oh, my God. Yeah, so Jacoby was impressed with the dunk champions three-peat performance last night on his Instagram. Grady Dick in practice at Rising Stars. And you know what? He's working on something very interesting in here. He's working on dribbling in and pushing off with his shoulder and bumping somebody off to make a shot. That's a really good skill. And as Grady gets stronger and bigger, he's going to be able to do this more effectively where he dribbles in and maybe gets a little like stop on a dime, kind of bump a guy off and then pop and shoot kind of thing going. So he's practicing that at All-Star Weekend. It's very interesting to see. It's a skill he hasn't done a whole lot yet, and he's going to get better at it as he gets bigger. And that'll really add another dimension to his offensive arsenal. I'm telling you right now. Scotty does it. That kind of thing where you kind of dribble in, you kind of bump or stop, and kind of they fall off, and then you get your shot off. Let's see. Grady was walking around. He went to an Adidas event at All-Star Weekend. He was going and checking out some of the shoes, Adidas shoes. They had a nice yellow pair there, and he's just looking through all this Adidas stuff and a little swag thing for maybe for the All-Stars. Maybe they're allowed to take this stuff. I don't know. He was at some Adidas pop-up checking out the Adidas stuff. He is an Adidas person, I believe. Let's see. Also, yeah, there's the Adidas logo on the wall, and he's checking out the Adidas space and kind of showing it off to people. There he is playing a video game, and it's the Raptors, and there's Scotty going through. And I know that's 2K. That's not real footage because it looks like graphics, but Grady was playing some video game with the Raptors yesterday on his Instagram. There he is at the slam dunk competition. Of course, Grady was on the sideline with a bunch of other NBA players like Karl Anthony Towns and Pascal Siakam watching Mac McClung in the dunk contest, and he filmed some of it. We've seen some of it. And this is what I wanted to tell you guys about what he saw that I didn't see on the show. They didn't even show this, and this is hilarious. They should have. I don't know if y'all knew that this happened, but this is so funny. This made me laugh my ass off for like 5 minutes this morning when I saw this. All right, Grady's over in the corner. You might have saw him. He was wearing sunglasses. He's over there by Kat and Pascal. And Mac McClung's doing the dunk where the guy's on the hoverboard and he's going around in circles with the ball on his head, and the guy's holding the basket ball, another basketball on the hoop on a ladder. Well, he does that dunk, performs it effortlessly. And I don't know if the camera caught this, but after they did that dunk, Giannis ran onto the court and attacked the ladder, guys. I don't know if you saw this, but it's on Grady's Instagram stories. It's hilarious. If you don't know about Giannis and the ladder, well, it was something that happened in Philadelphia one time where he was trying to take free throws after the game, and the Philadelphia crew was trying to break down the goal. And he wanted to try to shoot, and they kept putting the ladder up to take the hoop down, and he ran over and pushed the ladder over because he was mad at it. Well, Giannis, who's obviously a jokester and he can make fun of himself, he attacked Mac McClung's ladder after he did that dunk, and they didn't show it on TV. Nobody saw it, but I see it on Grady's Instagram, and it's so funny that Giannis Antetokounmpo is so funny that he would attack the ladder. He attacked Mac McClung's ladder. I'm sorry. This is just so funny to my sense of humor that Giannis is making fun of himself to attack the ladder like that. And y'all didn't see that on the broadcast last night because nobody talked about it or showed it, right? But he did that. He totally did that. You see Grady's Instagram. You can go see it. It's so funny. When you see him run out, it's like he does the dunk, and they're leaving, and they're taking pictures of him, and then he pans over, and Giannis runs out and tackles the ladder. It's so stupid, man. He sees the ladder and there he goes. He's running after it. I don't know why I think that's so funny. I mean, if y'all see it, you'll think it's funny too, man. It's so stupid, man. Giannis, you're funny, man. Honestly, I like Giannis just for some dumb stuff like that. That's hilarious, man. But yeah, he's filming it all. He filmed the dunk of the over the car, Grady's footage of that with a bunch of people's heads in front of him. Then the performance in between the events, he was filming that. Yeah, Grady behind Victor, filming the dunk that the last dunk that Mac did. Yeah, good stuff. All-Star weekend. Grady looks like he had a really good time. He's smiling and happy. Young Oach went back to his old high school and he witnessed a player named Corbin Allen break his all-time scoring record for his high school. So he was there in person at Oak Park this weekend to watch Corbin Allen actually break the all-time scoring record for points in a career at that high school. So what a benevolent, honorable guy to go and be there to see a guy break his own record and be there on hand for it just because he's off because of his All-Star weekend. So you go, Oshai Abaji, going and seeing Corbin Allen break your high school scoring record. Very, very, very cool. And there he is on the court with him in celebration of that. Dylan Disu going back to Texas Tech and hanging out at his alma mater, seeing what's going on there, watching the game. And let's see what else we got. Morris Peterson's got some jerseys on his wall. Kelly Olynyk, somewhere where it's very bright and sunny and the grass is green and the sky is blue. He's traded to New Orleans. He's out there golfing. Good for you, Kelly. You know what? You escaped the Canadian tundra, and there he is with his wife at a show, at some sort of play or something. I don't know what play it is. It looks like it might be Cirque du Soleil or something like that. So, yeah, Kelly's living a good life. He's a Pelican now. There's Zach Edey doing a broadcast thing or something. It looks like he's with Jarrett McCain. I don't know what they're doing there. They're just answering some questions. Siakam had all kinds of fun stuff. There's those camera glasses we were talking about. And it's funny because he's out on the practice court with his all-star squad, the global team, Team Chuck, and it's Kat and Nikola Jokic are out there on the court. And Siakam's telling Kat, I have a camera in these glasses. And Kat says, oh, you're a Fed. You're the Feds. You're the Feds, huh? Y'all, he's the Feds. And he brings Nikola over. And Nikola's like, what? And like Siakam's like, this is a camera. I'm filming you right now. And like, oh, okay. So watch out what you're saying around Pascal Siakam because he's got camera glasses, is what was going on at the All-Star practice for Team Chuck. And the global stars looking out. Alperen Sengun there also smiling and being goofy in the back. Then a reunion between Raptors champions in the back. Siakam showed some clips of him seeing different all-stars walking in, like him hugging Kevin Durant. Durant saying, hey, P. Skills, and giving him the utmost respect. I love seeing that. Him hugging Jaylen Brown, him hugging Kyrie. And then Norman coming in and Siakam saying, I'm so proud of you, man, being here. Big time, baby. And like looking at all his understand the grind gear. And he said, you went wholesale, is what Siakam said to Norman about his UTG brand going wholesale. Well, Siakam, why don't you go wholesale with your PS gear? Everybody wants it. I know our coach, Cool Cat, does. So, man, why don't you start selling that PS stuff and go wholesale like your good friend Norman Powell? But it's always good to see these guys, champions reunited. Of course, both of them reminiscing about the building that they were in yesterday, in the city that they were in. Siakam talking about how, yeah, I guess the last time I was in this building, well, we won a championship as the Raptors. And he's like, yeah, that felt real good. Yeah, I love that these guys are getting that Golden State memory from 2019, from this All-Star weekend, champions of the NBA. Norman Powell and Pascal Siakam. So good. Eugene Omoruyi still getting birthday wishes like crazy, even though his birthday was on Friday. Tempo, all kinds of stuff. This dog is picking their favorite team, and they picked the Toronto Tempo out of the middle of the Leafs and the Raptors. Penny, the little dog, has picked Tempo. It's official. She has great taste. There you go. Penny, the Dachshund. And there's all kinds of cool Tempo gear still going out in the mail. People are showing their support for Toronto Tempo ahead of time by buying the merchandise and repping it in different places. I love that. I love that. I want to see them play as soon as possible. SGA had a little pop-up store at NBA All-Star SGA store or something like that. And they're showing off these new shoes, the Shea #1. And they look really nice. Nice shoes, Gilgeous-Alexander. Very, very nice shoes. Yeah, there you go. And let's see. I think that's about it. Oh, AJ Lawson's getting ready for the up next game today. He's on the Raptors 905 account doing practice for that. So you guys want to support AJ Lawson, Canadian, in the up next game. He will be there this afternoon playing in it. And I'm not sure where it is. It may be on NBA TV or something like that. I'm not sure exactly where it'll be broadcasting, but you guys can find that up next G League game and support AJ Lawson of the Raptors 905. He's going to be putting up shots today. There's Norman with all kinds of pictures from his three-point shootout. Let's talk about Norman in the three-point shootout real quick. He started getting going late. Like on the last rack, he started hitting them, but it was too little too late. It was an interesting three-point shootout. Buddy Hield, wow, he had a really good run in the beginning, the first round, but then Tyler Hero just edged him. And in some ways, Buddy should have won. If he had cleared that last rack, if he had just made one more of those shots at the end, he would have beat Tyler Hero and he would have been a repeat three-point champion. And that's what Warriors Nation wanted last night, to be honest. They wanted the Warriors competitors in every competition to win. But alas, Buddy Hield choked, and he did not make one of the money balls on his last rack. So he was behind by one. If he had just made that one more shot, he would have beaten Tyler Hero, and he would have been the champion. So, yeah, Tyler Hero won the three-point shootout, but just barely over Buddy Hield. And if you accumulated their scores, Buddy won because he had like a 31 in the first round. Dame Lillard, a big disappointment, trying to go for the three-peat like Mac McClung, and he did not have a good first round and didn't even make it to the final. So, yeah, Norman, he got a 14, and in some ways he just started really bad. And he started getting going near the end, but it was a great experience for him. He's at All-Star Weekend for the first time in his 10 years of being in the NBA, and in some ways that's an accomplishment for him. But once again, what he said in the back too is, I feel like I should have been an All-Star, not just in the three-point shootout. I completely agree with you, Norman. But who knows? Maybe next year you'll continue to have a really good year, and they'll give you that All-Star nod that you deserve, because in some ways James Harden don't need to be playing in this All-Star game. He's got tons of them, and in some ways he's not the best Clipper this year. You are, and you should have had James's spot. Honestly, that's the way I feel about it. I'm sure a lot of people feel that way about it. But yeah, Norman's doing it classy. He has a really nice blue and red jacket that he got made for commemorating this three-point shootout contest. It has his area code from where he's from, 619, just like Rey Mysterio. And the 24 on there, Powell 24, and it's got three-point shootout. Understand the grind on the back, and Uncle Raymond in the in sleeve. But yeah, no, it's in Clippers colors, But he could have had a little championship patch somewhere in there, Raptors championship patch, who knows? But yeah, Norman's awesome. We love Norm. And once again, watch that William Liu clip of him watching his old clips with Hello and Welcome podcast, William Liu. That's fantastic content, William. Seriously, such good stuff, Will Liu, as far as that interview you did with Norman recently. Yeah, there he is in the back talking to Damian Lillard about techniques for doing the three-point shootout and how to do it and how to be successful. Norman, you gave it your best shot. You came out there, you put the shots up, and well, it is what it is. Tyler Hero won the contest. It is what it is. But yeah, Norman, I'm just glad you got there and you're getting some recognition and shine. And well, a lot of people understand you probably should have been an all-star, and that being in three-point shootout's okay, but you should have been an all-star. There's your Instagram stories for the All-Star Saturday night last night. All kinds of fun stuff going on with Grady and Norman and Pascal. Our Raptors connections on Saturday night were strong, if not having any direct Raptors involved in things. Vince Carter looming huge over the whole Saturday night last night. And then Norman competing and Pascal just having fun being on the all-star team. So, yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. Kareem saying that's exactly why Chris Paul will never win a chip. Him convincing Victor to cheat in a fucking all-star challenge was disgusting. Well, you're wrong, Kareem, because that's not what happened. Victor is taking full credit for the idea of doing that. That was not Chris Paul's idea. Victor has said, yes, that was my idea for us to do that. So you can't blame Chris Paul for this. And I don't know why you have unnecessary hate towards Chris Paul. Chris Paul is the man against the machine. The machine is what you should hate. I'm all for Chris Paul versus Scott Foster in the NBA. You got to stand on the side of the workers, Kareem. Yeah, no, Victor took full credit for making the idea of doing that. And Chris was just following suit. You got to understand also, Victor went first, and he did it first out there. and he feels embarrassed. It was totally Wembayama's idea, just so you know. The facts straight on this. Nameless is saying Toronto was trying to land both Hunter and BI desperately for whatever reason. I don't think that's true. That doesn't make any sense because the money wouldn't have worked. Nameless. I think that they were going one or the other, and it was just kind of the flexibility. I think that they went with the right one. You know, the rumors about DeAndre Hunter are stupid. Let's forget about them. It's nothing to it. He's in Cleveland, and we got Brandon here in Toronto. So any kind of thinking about what could have been or we were going to get both, none of that happened. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. What happened happened. Let's just go forward. I'm glad we got Brandon, and we wouldn't have been able to fit both of them. So that doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So whatever reason is doesn't make any sense. Fiercey's here. Good to see you, Fiercey. How are you doing today, MJ? Good morning, fam, and happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you. The snow is coming down. It is coming down. It wasn't too bad yesterday, not too much, but it seems like it's coming down pretty heavy right now. But yeah, it should be an interesting day. I'm gonna have to drive Adriana back to her house in the afternoon, and hopefully I'll be able to execute that drive flawlessly and get us back in a safe speed and driving back in the snowstorm this weekend. We'll have to see. Always good to see you, Fiercey. Thank you for being here this morning. Kareem saying, hats off to McClung, a 3-time dunk champion. That said, now that the NBA dunk contest has no stars, when will the NBA hire the best dunkers across the world and compete globally? Well, you know, I think that it's going to happen next year that they're going to get Ja. I mean, they've been asking him for a couple years now. And maybe a couple years ago, he was in trouble and he had lawsuits and court dates and he was suspended. And well, maybe, you know, he needed to get healthy and also get kind of on good terms with the NBA in certain ways that maybe Ja Morant will finally do this. It sounds like he will because he made a tweet last night watching the dunk contest saying maybe I need to go up against Mac next year. Because honestly, they called him out last night. Seriously, the broadcasters called him out. I think it was Kenny Smith or somebody said, Ja Morant don't want any of the smoke. Ja Morant is that kind of guy. If you say you don't want that, you don't want the smoke, Ja Morant will come and get the smoke. So the broadcasters calling him out say Ja Morant doesn't want any Mac McClung smoke. Well, maybe you're wrong. That might have been exactly what you needed to do to get him enticed to come in there. I mean, financially, if they put a good award for winning the dunk contest, I'm sure these guys would do it. You know, Giannis doesn't mind making a fool of himself. In some ways, you know, he would do the dunk contest and not care if he won or not. He'd just do it to add his name to the prestige of it. And in some ways, he's not going to get hurt by losing a dunk contest. He is who he is with his brand already, and he's already a champion. So in some ways, it's like, what does he lose by doing it, even if he falls flat on his face? Well, you know, Giannis is already used to kind of looking like a fool, and he doesn't mind it. He embraces it. In some ways, he's very powerful because of that. And so I could totally see Antetokounmpo and Morant doing the dunk competition next year, and that will solve exactly what you're talking about right there. Yeah, Fiercey saying Grady on the sidelines in the dunk contest wearing the shades. He's got swagger. Yeah, it's just cool. You can pick him out easy in a crowd. I'm like, oh, there's Grady. You can see Grady over in the corner. There's Victor, and there's Pascal, and there's Grady over in the corner there. Yeah, it's very cool. Mike's here. Good to see Logical Raptors fanatic. He's saying the Ingram contract is backloaded. I believe the first year isn't $40 million. Yeah. Yeah, I think it averages out to 40 a year, and with it's like 39 something in the first year, and then it gets to like 43 by the end, but it's all evened out in the right way. Yeah, I'm happy with this deal. I feel like this was a steal from what I was hearing from people like Blake Murphy and capologists and Mike. It sounded like this was a very fair price and that we should be very happy as Raptors fans that we got him for this price at this many years too. This is a lock in, Alan Tam. We're not going to have no Kawhi Leonard bullshit where this guy comes and plays for 1 year, helps us win a championship and takes off. No, Brandon Ingram's going to be with us for a few years now. And he, at some level, is some point on the hierarchy of a great scorer in the league up towards Kawhi Leonard, better than most of the players we've ever had that play for the Raptors in the history. So what's not to like? We're going to get a player that's not exactly as good as Kawhi, but he's going towards that level. And we're getting him locked in for years to come. This is a good move. And there's a lot of people making content out there that are not Raptors content makers that are saying stuff like the Raptors are being sneaky, sneaky smart. And they have a really good idea in what they just did with Brandon Ingram. So we're getting good reviews from people that aren't necessarily in our nation that can see from the outside and they're analyzing it and they're like, whoa, the Raptors are geniuses. So what are we doing wrong, guys? Nothing, nothing. Let's let this man get healthy and let's see what level we can get to with BI3 on our team. Yeah, that's what I'm saying right there. Yeah, Kareem saying, Lex, my OCD is kicking in, and I'm going to drive over to your place and iron out the 905 flag. I wish it would flatten out a little bit more, but we just need to let it hang a little bit. It is what it is. Might have to dig up the old "We the North" flag that used to be behind me from the old place and put it up behind me soon. The championship flag that I got in game 1 of the finals against Golden State that I won from yelling and the crowd. The fan squad came and handed it to me. So maybe I'll have to get that old championship flag, the "We the North" flag that used to hang behind me, back out and put it back up because it doesn't have any wrinkles. It's really bugging you guys, huh? It's really bugging y'all. Let's see. Fiercey saying McClung was going to make this the last year, but John Morant and Giannis tweeted they consider doing it next year. Yeah. Well, the way he sounded at the end is like, if you guys ask me and you want me to do it, of course I'll do it, is basically what it is. And that's happened every year now. You got to wonder, though, Max got to really think about this right away. Like he probably starts brainstorming for next year right now if he's going to do it. And maybe he really does try and practice them as much as possible. He gave thanks to people for letting them drive their cars into gyms so he could practice that dunk over the car. I'm sure that was awkward, especially in weird situations. Like, hey, can we go down the middle school in my hometown and we'll drive your Audi into the gym and I'll jump over it a few times? Is this okay with the school? The custodians out there yell, hey, you're scuffing up my floor. What are you doing with that car on my floor? Hey, it's Mac McClung, man. It's a dunk champion. He's practicing his dunk for the NBA All-Star weekend. Oh, okay. Sorry. I didn't know why y'all were in here with your car in my gym. It's like, who knows what he's doing to try and practice for these, but he's got to get innovative. In some ways, it's getting tired that you just jump over very tall, big people like Evan Mobley and Shaq and cars. And I honestly want to see you do a little bit more like a distance dunk or some sort of like other way that you can show us a little bit of different variance in your dunks. Because in some ways, you're doing the same dunk. You're just jumping over different things is kind of what's happening right now. So let's keep going. Logical Raptors Fanatics saying it's 38 million the first year, 40 million the second year, and the player option is 41 million. It's like 78 million for 2 years if he doesn't pick up the player option. Yeah, that all sounds great to me. Honestly, that all sounds great to me. It's all showing that the chemistry fit is there. I don't think Bobby would have done this extension right now if the vibes weren't immaculate between him joining the team, talking to his teammates and his coaches, and absolutely being welcomed with open arms, and also open arms coming from him into it. And I think that that's a really good signifier that, man, he's in the fold, he's bought in, and he's really into the ideas and the ideals that Darko Rajakovic promotes as the coach of the Raptors. Because that's the thing. You don't do this. You don't lock somebody in like this if you feel like it's a little shaky or weird. Dude showed up. He came correct. And the coaches and the teammates love him. And this is why we did this. So we're in a good place. We're in a good place with this. I love it. I love it. Nameless is saying, I just want to say that I love you all very much. And I feel so privileged to be able to hang out with you all and talk ball every day. Nameless, man, right back at you, bro. I love this because this is just a pronouncement of gratitude. In some ways, it's like, I thank you, Paisano, for all of the great Italian lessons and just the fun and just the, you being you, the quirkiness. We're all quirky and weird in some ways, and some personalities don't get along. I get it. But I appreciate that some of y'all get along with me to the point where you stand me enough to be here all the time. So I'll say thank you to you. And, I was crazy yesterday. In some ways, I went off on Kenyon, maybe a little bit too much. But I really did feel like I need to stand up for Masai and Bobby. And I wanted to show an example of, you know what? Some people just going to stand for this. Because in some ways, what they do is just like what billionaires have paid millions of dollars and trillions and billions of dollars to sewer Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Justin Trudeau. Literally, Elon Musk has spent billions of dollars funneling misinformation into Canada to make Canadians hate Justin Trudeau. And I don't know how to tell people this without them getting upset with, oh, no, I just hate Trudeau. No, you guys were brainwashed and paid for and bought to hate Trudeau. And, well, the same action happens in basketball. People are paying money for people to hate Masai. And so I'm standing up for Masai from the same kind of forces that were bought and paid for for you to hate Justin Trudeau. So that's the way I look at it. As far as I'm concerned, Kenyon, you're like the right wingers that are coming after Trudeau and suing his name with the way you come after Ujiri. And that's why I'm so passionate about saying what I said yesterday, and I'll stand on it today still. That I don't feel like I did anything wrong because I wanted to make an example of him yesterday, and I had a very clear reason why. And he can listen to it if he wants, but if he doesn't, that's his right too. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just had to say what I had to say in my own forum. But I appreciate what you're saying, Nameless. And you know what? For giving gratitude, I'm going to go ahead and show gratitude towards you and give you another dunk today. Because honestly, man, I'm just thankful to live another day, wake up, and get to spend some time with Adriana and you guys on this computer. So there you go. There we go. Fiercely saying it was funny to watch the broadcast praising Mobley's huge improvement in 3-pointers while he kept bricking his shots. Wasn't that? It was good, wasn't it? Wemby took the blame, but some people say it might have been CP's idea. No, it was Victor's. You know, Chris, I don't think Chris thought that deeply about it. In some ways, Chris is probably there just to kind of like be there for Victor. You know, it's a nice pairing. The NBA, don't get it twisted. They want Victor there. They want Victor in that competition because he's the star, he's the future. And Chris is just the teammate that they put together to put with him. Victor went first, and he fully took credit for doing that. It wasn't Chris. And you can tell, even when they showed them afterwards, that they were arguing with that guy. And Victor was the one who was arguing with him more than Chris was, as far as what the rules were. And the guy had the sheet out, and he was pointing to the rules and talking to him. And Victor was kind of like pleading his case. So it was Victor's idea. You can tell from the body language of how they were talking to the guy with the rules. He wasn't talking to Chris as much. He was talking to Victor. And so it was Victor's idea. You guys just don't trust Chris Paul? Is that what it is? Yeah, I don't know about that. But Fiercely, I'm going to give you a dunk because you're making me laugh thinking about that Evan Mobley stuff you just brought up. It's hilarious, too. Yeah, Evan Mobley's a sham all-star as far as I'm concerned, man. That man shouldn't even be an all-star right now. It is what it is. He got it. In some ways, you know, I wish Scotty had his spot in the all-star game right now. In some ways, he kind of deserves it over him with the stats. But Cleveland gets 3 all-stars because they're the best team in the East. That's just how it went. So Stargate saying that John Morant says that every year. He says that every year about coming back. We'll see if he actually comes through this time. Maybe they meet in the right way as far as the incentives, and maybe he actually does do it. I mean, he needs to. It's obvious he's the most electrifying dunker right now, and he could do some amazing ass shit. In some ways, it's selfish when he doesn't do that because you got to give back to the sport, give back to the business. You got to give back to the interest. And, you know, Michael Jordan, Vince Carter, they did their part in their generations to get people interested in basketball. John Morant, you're the new generation. You need to do your part to electrify things and get Josh Sanity, Vince Sanity, Air Jordan. All this stuff mattered to get people into the seats at NBA games. And Ja, you have a responsibility to a degree. You know, even these young guys like Kobe came and did the all slam dunk when he was a rookie. He came in early. You know, all these young players do it when you're early, when you're not as big a name. I get it. And you're more established. Maybe you won't do it later. Well, that's why you need to do it at least once when you're early. People that don't do the dunk contest that are really good dunkers ever, I had lose respect for you guys in some ways. Like, especially if you're a known dunker or high flyer like John Morant. I love that Tracy and Vince brought up the story when they were reminiscing about the dunk contest that Kobe didn't want no smoke from Vince. Seriously. And I remember this from back then. That Kobe Bryant refused to do the dunk contest with Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady and Steve Francis and Jerry Stackhouse and all them because he already knew that Vince would beat his ass no matter what. He couldn't beat him. This is Kobe Bryant we're talking about, one of the biggest competitors ever that ever lived. And he knew well enough to not even step into the arena and dunking with Vince Carter at that time. That just tells you enough about how badass and amazing half man, half amazing was with his dunking back in the day. Kobe didn't want no smoke. I think that's amazing. Seriously, you think about what I just said, man. Yeah, it's hilarious, man. All right, let's keep going. Fiercely saying Tyler Hero winning made sense. If Buddy maintained how he did it in the first round, he would have definitely won. Lillard was off. Yeah, Buddy was just, man, it's such a hard competition. You know, you think that, you're going to be so good at it, but the pressure and like the lights and the noises and these people underneath rebounding and running around the racks and, you know, grabbing the balls and getting them right in your hand each time and getting them up. And if you don't go fast enough, you got to worry about the shot clock. There's so much that goes into it, and it's way more pressurized than you think. And it's hard enough just to make shots, just hanging out from 3-point land for anybody. So you can see how difficult, in some ways, the 3-point shootout is one of the most difficult competitions in the weekend. Dunking is very difficult too, yes. But don't just not get it twisted. The 3-point shootout is difficult too. Buddy Hield should have won, honestly. I wish he had, honestly. I didn't want Hero to win. I was really hoping that he'd hit all those money ball shots and go out winning. And a lot of Warriors fans were feeling that too. I was there too. Stargate saying, yeah, I saw when Giannis did that. It was hilarious. You're so funny, man. So funny. The dude is awesome. He's got my respect for that. Cream saying, laugh out loud. Giannis Laddergate? That's hilarious. I never noticed it. That was like 2 years ago. Giannis's pettiness at a level 1,000. No, they didn't catch it on the camera, and they didn't make a big deal of it on the broadcast. That's why you didn't catch it. But if you go and watch Grady's Instagram stories, like I said, you see Giannis run out there shortly after he did the dunk, and he tacks the ladder. It's so stupid and funny. Oh my gosh, so funny. Cool Cat saying, good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Kudos to Mac McClung, three-peat. The new generation will keep the NBA entertaining. Siakam, Metaglass is a hit amongst the players. Recording stuff, farewell to the camcorder. He can be more incognito. Yeah, he's federale, according to Carl Anthony Towns. So watch what you say around Siakam. He's the mole. He's recording you. Good to see you, the coach. Cool Cat. And I was just saying earlier, well, he went up to Norman and said, you went wholesale, buddy. Well, when are you going wholesale, Pascal Siakam? Since understand the grind is available online for anybody to get from wholesale. Well, when is Pascal's gear going to be like that? So Coach Cool Cat can get all of that. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying right there. Are you going to go wholesale, Pascal? That's we're waiting. We've been waiting. That's right. We want some Raptor throwback PS stuff. That's right. Stargate saying Castle should have done a dunk over Victor. I know. And that was one weird thing. They had Evan Mobley come out there, and then they put something on the floor for him to stand on. And everybody in the announcer was like, wait, why are you doing that? Why don't you just get Victor to do it? You could get that little input, the little platform that makes Evan Mobley higher. Just get Victor to stand out there instead. You don't need no platform. Well, maybe Mac can't jump over Victor. Maybe that's his limit. I don't know. He could jump over a 7-foot man, but maybe not a 7'5" man. I don't know. And maybe Victor ain't having none of it. He's like, no, I don't want to do a dunk with that guy. I don't know him. And in some ways, I don't want to be dunked over. I don't know. Somebody said no, and Victor wasn't the guy who got dunked over. But I'll bet you the NBA wanted that originally. They're probably like, maybe you can dunk over Victor Wembanyama. Oh, I'd love to do that. And he's like, oh, wait, he said no. So will you settle for Evan Mobley? I mean, that's what it felt like. Why would they put out that extra little platform for Evan to stand on? Yeah, they wanted Victor to do that dunk, but he didn't do it. He did not want to do it, obviously. Smooth saying Mac McClung deserved to win. Don't know what there's outrage over it. No, I don't think there's any outrage over it. Who's having outrage about it? He did deserve to win. You're exactly right. Adriana watched the dunk contest with me last night, and she called it. She said, that little guy's going to win. I know he is. I'm like, how do you know? He's like, he's just so cute. He's good. It's funny. No, I completely agree. There's no outrage over him winning. I don't think there is. I haven't heard anything. I think Steph Castle put in a good showing. He wasn't horrible. I mean, the rankings ESPN gave out for last night on their rankings, they're going to say, all right, let's see. I'll skip the skills competition. Who cares about that? 3-point shootout. Yeah, whatever. You just go by the scores. But we'll look at the dunk ratings. Mac McClung, an A for his performance. And then they gave Steph also an A-. So it's not like he was that far off. In some ways, some of the Spurs fans are upset about Mac winning. They've said because he used props, and that Stephon Castle was very much just doing organic, I'm dunking without people and gimmicks. And that's maybe the only argument I've heard since last night is Spurs fans are mad that they think Castle should have won because he didn't use a car or a hoverboard or a ladder or any of that, and he just did dunks. And there's a lot of purists that are saying, yeah, the dunk contest has gotten too gimmicky with props, and that it should just go back to what things like what Wilkins and Jordan were doing in the 80s and just throwing stuff down. But in some ways, we got to remember the world of dunks is limited for the different variety of dunks that are possible for humans to do. And the expansion into props has given more life to the dunk competition also at the same time. But I mean, I can understand purist mentality about, okay, no gimmicks, no props, no bullshit, just dunk. And in that way, some people would have a case that Castle should have won last night. But I agree. The most electrifying dunker who should have won last night was McClung. Absolutely right. Yeah. All the missed dunks, man. Max only missed one. Yeah, I don't even think he really missed one. He attempted to jump over the car, but he stopped and came back. And then he made it over the car, but he kind of clipped it on the other side and had a little bit of a stumble after. And he didn't totally get the landing. But that doesn't matter. There's no ruling on that. He cleared the car enough that he got over it and he made the dunk. Yeah, they didn't really have any failed attempts. Even Castle, he didn't actually leave the air at any point. Every single time he left the air, he made the dunk. The other two didn't make anything, honestly. The Mattis and Jackson, both of them hardly made any dunks. But McClung and Castle were pretty good at completing their dunks last night. Right away, yeah. Kareem saying what they did to Terrence Shannon Jr. in Illinois is kind of what I wanted Toronto to do to Vince. I don't even know what they did to Terrence Shannon Jr. in Illinois. I have no idea what you're talking about, so I can't opine on this. Let's see. Fiercely saying, I remember wanting to say this to Lex point about the media not being able to say negative things about the BI trade. When Kyrie joined the Mavs, so many rumors he would leave in the offseason. The front office shut this opportunity as he signed with us quickly. Yeah, BI shut this down quickly. Yeah, it's toxic. And Bobby and Masai probably knew this. And that's a hidden advantage to getting the extension done with Brandon now, is that none of this uncertainty that people like Grange and Lewinberg would promote all for the rest of the season and into offseason is not there anymore because it's set in stone and it's signed and sealed and delivered. And I love that. That's a great thing. Once again, our front office is not trying to confuse people. Our front office is not trying to pull fast ones on people, maybe on other GMs, but not on the fans. And they tell us what they're doing all the time. I mean, they've told us in the last few years that Bobby and Masai are waiting an opportunity for disgruntled or not good fits on other teams and taking very high talented players from other teams like the Kawhi situation and adding them here on possibly a discount because the other franchise is in a lurch and they need to move that person. Well, hello, Brandon Ingram, and the settings that created over the last year for him and the contract situation he was in with the Pelicans. Well, this is exactly what Masai and Bobby described a couple years ago. And I said, well, wait, when this opportunity comes, they'll pounce and they'll get a very high level talent on the Raptors again, just like Kawhi, because of a disgruntled situation. This is not necessarily a disgruntled situation, just an awkward, confusing situation where the time had passed for Brandon in the Pelicans and they shopped them around a little bit. Well, this is how this happens. Masai's an opportunist and he makes things happen to get good talent on the Raptors by utilizing situations other teams are in with really good stars and they want to get out. Kawhi was a huge example of this, and Brandon Ingram's on the same scale. And they told us they're going to do this. Masai said, I like to keep flexibility with our team because you never know who might become available. And that's what this is. And they pulled the trigger on this one, because they knew adding Brandon Ingram to the Raptors roster is going to be a big talent uptick. And it could very well make us a playoff team next year. So we'll have to see. We got to have health, though. That's the most important thing. Stargate saying, I predict Chuck's team will win tonight. I hope so. I hope so. That's the team I'm rooting for. The global stars, Victor Wembanyama, Nikola Jokic, Pascal Siakam, Karl Anthony Towns. Yeah, it's a fun team. Donovan Mitchell. There's a fun team, and hopefully they can. Hopefully they can do all right. I think that they got Trae Young added to them too. I think Trae Young's on their team too. So it'll be interesting to see how Chuck's team does against Kenny's team first. So the global stars will play against the Gen Z stars, the young guns, and we'll see who wins that one to get to face in the finals, whichever team wins on the other side. You know, they may have wanted to give a cakewalk to those older guys against those the Team C, Chris Mullins' team from the Rising Stars tournament, the winners with Zach Edey and those guys. They may be in trouble, seriously. If LeBron and Steph and Kevin and Kyrie and them don't come out there and play full out, if they may get embarrassed. Now, they may treat this like dream team kind of rules where we're an Olympic team and we're not letting anybody make us look bad. We're going to play to our ability. That's what I'm saying. It's already setting up that there's going to be a competition today at the All-Star game where these guys are going to try and play. Do they want to lose to a bunch of rookies and sophomores? James Harden and all them? No, they don't. So we'll see how lazy they are today and whether those youngsters running circles around them will get them going to try and compete. If they lose to them, it's embarrassing. Remember that. So there is some gumption to not be lazy in the All-Star game tonight. So it could be very, very interesting. I hope that Chuck's team wins also. That is fully who I'm rooting for today. Yeah, I've been rooting for Spurs stuff all weekend in the absence of Raptors competitors. So I was going for Victor and Chris before they got disqualified. I was going for Steph Castle also in the dunk competition. In the three-point shootout, I was going for Norman, of course. Yeah. Most saying, yeah, everyone thought the picture was real. Laugh out loud. The comments, that's awesome. They thought the picture was real. That's so cool. The comments were hilarious. My entire family loves it so much. Thanks, Belle. Yeah, it's such a cool picture. I'll make sure I'll post it today. I'll get it from your Facebook and with your permission, and I'll post it in the community tab so all the Rap Freak family can also enjoy it. Also, it's awesome, Mo. What a half Mo, half amazing picture. That's the half Mo, half amazing picture. I love it. So good. Cream saying, I'm happy for Tyler Hero. Being suplexed by a rookie wasn't a good look. I'm even sure what this is about. But yeah, I mean, whatever. In some ways, it is what it is. I'm a hater. I'm not a big fan of Tyler Hero. I really was wishing Buddy Hield would have won. That's just me personally, though. Cool Cat saying, for me, it's been snowing every day nonstop since Wednesday night. Wintry mode full effect. Yeah, it's coming down right now as I look out the window. It's so pretty. It's so quiet and tranquil out there, and everything's just so covered. And at this point, I've accumulated about 4 feet of snow on the lawn. It's really up there. It's like getting close to the bird feeders. It's really up there, but it's pretty. And like I have to enjoy being out here all 4 seasons and just get the best out of all of them. I really truly get all 4 of the seasons. And I'm really looking forward to spring and seeing how lush and green everything grows after such a great dumping of snow this winter. I'm going to look at it the best things of everything. We don't get a lot of snow one winter. That's great. Less shoveling. But if we get lots of snow, I'm thinking about the great stuff it's doing for the moisture and the soil and the hydration for the plants and the organisms in the ground and helping my yard be healthier and healthier. The snow is really good for adding all kinds of stuff, minerals and all kinds of things that comes down and into your soil and making it even more fertile and better. Seriously, I'm all about it. Stargate saying, Alan, you're in the minority with Josh Lewinberg and Sid Sixero. Yeah, I don't know. If he thinks it's a Dookie contract, I got to tell him is wrong. And that's what I did earlier. Alan Tam Bam, some, I love you, my guy. And we can disagree on this. We don't know yet. In some ways, Josh Lewinberg has said this. He says, well, we'll see if this contract is worth it. And a lot of it will be contingent on how much Brandon Ingram plays. If we get an Otto Porter out of this is going to be really bad. This will be really, really bad. And Masai and them will do something about it. But we can't have this guy being unhealthy. He's got to be ready to play and play as much as he can during this contract. No Embiid half the time available kind of stuff. No. And I believe he will. Because honestly, what is he doing? Wasting his life? No, this guy on the down low is a real hard motivated working guy because of his gym rat status. He's not going to want to sit by and let his life go by him. He wants to play and he wants to get healthy. He don't want to sit out there. And I'm telling you, he's excited about the young core on the Raptors and joining them and seeing what's possible. I'm telling you, he's really excited about our team. And that will keep him out there because he wants to be out there. It's not that he wants to sit and be injured. Trust me, he doesn't. Yeah. Carlos here. Hi, Lex and fellow freaks watching while shoveling the snow. Well, be careful. Remember to lift with your legs and not your back. Then if you can get that top layer before you go real deep, sometimes I like to get the whole scoop and get the whole bit, but I'm like, no, go half and then get the other half underneath. But yeah, I'm going to be shoveling some snow in just a little bit too this afternoon. That's right. Good to see you, Carlo. Reggie saying hockey did it right with the Four Nations Cup. I have to give credit where credit is due. It's a home run, man. I heard that there was a Canada versus USA game last night. Unfortunately, the Americans won 3-1 in Bell Center in Montreal last night. They have a little 4-country tournament between Canada, US, Sweden, and Finland, I believe. And yeah, it seemed like that was a very competitive event from what I heard. I didn't watch any of it. And they were saying that they were really going at it and that, for NHL players to do that in that setting and it not being an NHL game, some of the NHL owners might have been a little worried about their investments, about how hard they were playing in this. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's cool. So good marks and good reviews on that event last night. They got it right and it was competitive. Very, very cool. I'm not gonna hate on that. In some ways, that game meant a lot last night. Unfortunately, Canada lost, but I'm not going to count out Canada in most hockey games when they're nationally playing. It's just so happened last night. Austin Matthews and the Americans had our number. Yeah, it's too bad. It's too bad. Let's see. The NBA stuff right now is fluff, in my opinion. I won't totally disagree with you. Now, I want to say this: give it a chance today, Reggie. Watch this All Star game today and see if it's totally different than the last couple years. I think they got it right this year. I'm going to say this ahead of time. If it's a dog and it sucks once again, just like last year in Utah or the year before, I'll admit it. But I'm feeling like this one's going to be a winner because the format without the clock with a points a target score is really smart. And the other thing about having four teams in a tournament, and don't want to go out in the first round, and then if you get the final, you're going to have real gumption to want to win. We're going to see better competition here. I think the celebrity game is absolute fluff and garbage. Rising Stars is actually a good event. Skills Challenge is stupid and fluff. Yeah. 3-point shootouts historically what it's always been. The dunk contest is borderline fluff. I will say that. So I'm trying to be fair here. I'm trying to be fair. All due respect. Monique is saying congratulations to Mariah Amber on hosting All Star Saturday night once again. Enjoying the weekend. Well, that's another person in our franchise that's excellence across the league that she gets invited to do this. And I'll tell you why. She has an amazing voice for the job that she does. It's just a very attractive female voice that comes out and it really garners excitement. And she has a personality and a thing to it that is top notch. And obviously, the league values her for coming to host events with her talent and be there and do it because she's been there 2 years in a row now. So fantastic. She's representing our team, our franchise, the Toronto Raptors, and she's doing it in a very classy way. Once again, another department where the Raptors are top notch, and that's in-game ops hosts Mariah Amber hosting NBA events at All-Star Weekend from our team and coming down there and getting the mic and having her voice echoing throughout the arena because she's that good. They're not asking the Hornets person to do that. They're not asking the Knicks person to do that. They're asking the Raptors in-game ops host to come down and do that. And that is a big accomplishment. Dunk for Monique for bringing up Mariah Amber, somebody that maybe we wouldn't have talked about unless she brought it up. So appreciate you, Mo, for that. You're going to get your 10th dunk of the year. You're at 30 now. 30 points for Mo. Yeah, there you go. Kareem saying, if the All-Star game is shit again this year, NBA should introduce a slam ball court. I don't know. With trampolines. Are you saying they need to bring the trampolines out there? I don't know if this is the right idea. That sounds like that could cause more injuries, to be honest. If I know anything about trampolines from being a kid, injuries have to do with trampolines. That's all I know. I think it's going to work today, guys. Seriously, I really do think it's going to work. You trust me. You guys are going to see this, and you'll come see me tomorrow, and you say, "Oh, Lex was right. The All-Star game was really good this year." Let's see. Cream saying at Reggie, I agree with you on that Four Nations tournament. USA versus Canada had 3 fights at the drop of the puck, way better than the NBA in-season tournament. Yeah, is that what this is? It's like NHL's equivalent of an in-season tournament, but it's not really the NHL. It's nations going against each other. I don't know. You guys know how much I pay attention to hockey. This is all Greek to me. I have no idea what you guys are talking about to an extent. I mean, I can understand that they had a 4-country tournament and the U.S. played Canada last night, but that's about it. I didn't watch any highlights. I don't have any knowledge of this other than very surface level headlines. So I can't opine on it in a knowledgeable way. Sorry, guys. Mischief's here. Good to see Mischief. Brandon Ingram probably thinking Toronto gets 3 feet of snow per week, laughing my ass off. Welcome to the twilight snow. Yeah, I don't know. Anybody who's thinking this, you know what it made me think of is when we had the All-Star weekend here in 2016 and how it was so bitterly cold. It's like the worst time for people to come to Toronto is February. It's not gonna lie. So in some ways, us getting the All-Star weekend in Toronto, we have to fight that. We got to hope for a seasonally warm year so that people don't come up here and just enforce stereotypes in their head. In some ways, yeah, if we had the All-Star weekend this weekend, well, look at what people would be walking around and being in. Yeah, more Canadian stereotypes fulfilled because we're in the middle of a snowstorm. It just happens to be on All-Star weekend. So yeah, it's good that they had it in Golden State. I'm just saying because, like, man, the thing was when the 2016 one happened, It wasn't that it was a lot of snow, it was just so freaking cold. It was like -25 in downtown Toronto, and that was the big problem for that one. Yeah, Click's here. Good to see you. Original Raptor Freak Click. Been with me for about 3 years, coming in and out of the channel. Good to see Click. He said, "I enjoyed watching NHL Four Nations face-off than whatever happened last night. NBA should have done that. Really competitive." Well, I don't know if it fits. Like, how would they do this? Would they take like Four Nations, the US, Canada, Australia, and Serbia or something like that, and put them out there and do like a little basketball tournament? I don't know. How would they do this? We got to remember they're very different sports, and there's different things about what they can do. The NHL is more good for pertaining to splitting up by nations with their talent because it's more equal. The U.S. is very much still the powerhouse in basketball. And if you make an all star team for the U.S. against the all star teams of the other countries, you know it's not going to be balanced. So, in some ways, maybe Canada could compete with the U.S. in this kind of tournament in basketball. But for the most part, it wouldn't be that competitive, is what I'm saying. But hockey is conducive for that because you've got a couple different hockey powers around the world that can do this. I mean, I don't think we should be comparing these two events this weekend to each other. They are different, very different sports. If they were competing for entertainment eyes, people watching them, okay. But I still don't think that it's worth comparing them because they're very different events. They're very, very different events. And yeah, I don't even know what they did with the hockey stuff because I didn't watch it. And I did watch the NBA stuff though, because in some ways this is a basketball channel. That's what's going on. You think the NBA should have done that? I just don't know how they would click, with all due respect. Kareem saying Brandon Ingram maybe wouldn't have signed the deal if he's seen all this snow. Masai strikes again. I don't think he cares about this. You know, we can make a big deal about the snow and all this kind of stuff. And some of the guys may complain. It's really more that it's shocking and new to them. You know, these guys aren't here right now, thank God. A lot of them are not here. I know RJ's here still, though. RJ's staying home. He's in Mississauga with his family, taking time with his family. He said that before the break. But, you know, people like Scott are probably on an island somewhere. You know, Grady's not going to come back here after the break now. He'll go back to Kansas and hang out there for a while. So hopefully most of the Raptors are away from this right now and they'll reconvene and come back to Toronto around Wednesday or something like that. Who knows? And they'll practice a bit and then get ready for their games after the All-Star break. But yeah, you know what? The other thing you got to realize is Ingram, if he's here in Toronto, he's insulated. He's riding around in cars driven for him. He could get underneath in the path. He could stay in a condo that's connected to the Scotiabank Arena, and he doesn't even need to go outside. So there's all ways of living in downtown Toronto and dealing with this kind of stuff, and it doesn't even affect you. I know for myself living in downtown Toronto that the winter never bugged me because I knew the path and I could go underneath and underground and walk all over the place. And these guys got drivers, they got private drivers, and they got ways to get around and stuff like that, get to OVO Center. So, yeah, I'm not really worried about them with the weather. They can complain about it, look at it, but honestly, they live a gilded life where they get shielded from the weather here, and they're probably fine most of the time. They may have to step outside for 10 seconds to jump from inside to the car. So I don't worry about this too much. I don't worry about this too much. Stargate saying Anthony Edwards versus John Morant in a dunk contest would be must-see TV. Yeah, he's the other guy that needs to be pressured to come and do this is the Ant-Man. The Ant-Man would be fantastic in the dunk competition. Yep. Yep, both of those guys. Must-see TV for sure, Stargate. Exactly right. That's right. Mischief's laughing at Kareem for saying that Masai got that deal done before the snowstorm came. And yeah, I don't think Brandon's regretting it, honestly. He's not. He's not. He loves the food here. He loves the culture. He basically said, I love Toronto because there's people from all around the world here. And I love that. You know, he's a very multicultural kind of person. And being in a multicultural city like Toronto is going to be great for him. Plus, he's opening himself up to be marketed globally. In some ways, he may just open a door to be marketed in China way more and around the world because he's on the Toronto Raptors now, a team that gets global attention. And that's better than the Pelicans, who don't even get attention in their own country. So there you go. There's another perk for Brandon right there. He's going to get more notoriety and probably better endorsement deals now, guys. Seriously, he may end up in a lot of Canadian commercials too. We'll have to see. I have to see. Trevor's saying I watched AJ Lawson practice yesterday for the game today. Yeah, yeah. We hope AJ does good and looks good in that game. I'm wondering if I'm gonna be able to watch it. I don't know where I'm gonna be able to find it. Trevor, if you find a link for it, please share it on our Facebook chat so that I can go find it. I got to figure out how I'm gonna watch it because I don't know where it's gonna be on. Is it gonna be just online or something like that, like a G League game? I'm not totally sure where it is, so I got to find it. Cool Cat saying, I've given up on the PS43 clothing line. It's for his personal use only and special gifts. And she's laughing about it. Well, that's what I'm saying. If you're going to come up to Norman yesterday and say, you went wholesale, my guy, well, why aren't you going wholesale, Pascal? I guess he just doesn't care about making that much money. I love that they asked Pascal in his press conference yesterday about the PS43 Foundation. And Siakam thanked the person who asked him. He said, yeah, PS43 Foundation is something I feel very important about. My father was very much involved in giving back to society in different ways. And this is just part of his legacy I'm doing myself. And then it's really focused on education, STEM, and giving opportunities to underprivileged youth that don't get opportunities for certain equipment in education. And that's what the PS43 Foundation is all about. And kudos to the journalist that asked the question for him at NBA All-Star to give him a little bit of shine and being able to talk about it on that forum with that kind of attention. So yeah, I love that so much that person asked about that. Some funny questions yesterday. Siakam asked yesterday, who is his favorite teammate of his whole entire career? That was an interesting question, how he handled it. He said, basically, I can't name any one person. I'll say my favorite teammates were the bench mob on Toronto. That those are his guys, as we've heard recently from Norman and DeLon and different people, that, the friendship between Fred, DeLon, OG, Jakob, CJ, Pascal, Norman, is the unbreakable friendship that is just they're all still together and talking all the time, even though they're split up all over the league at this point. And yeah, I love hearing that. Siakam saying my favorite teammates were the bench mob, basically straight up in his interview yesterday. Favorite teammates ever, bench mob is what he said. Boom, goes the dynamite. Kareem saying Victor couldn't help facilitate with McClung knowing that his own teammate was up against him. That's true. That's probably right. And you're probably exactly right, Kareem. It's like, yeah, I can't help Mac McClung with his dunking over me. My partner is on the other side, and he's competing with him. Maybe he should have came up the castle and said, I'll do it for you instead. Seriously, you're exactly right, Kareem. I'm going to give you a dunk for Windhursting this. Normally he gets a dunk for being funny, but that is a complete Windhurst right there. You Windhurst that to make, yeah, you can do that because it's his teammate. 33 for you. That's 11th dunk for Kareem. Yeah, if he did that, he would have been dirty work, and Spurs players wouldn't trust him ever again. Laugh out loud. Yeah, you're totally right. You totally nailed it right there. That's why you got a dunk. Kareem saying Terrence Shannon Jr. had his jersey retired. Hang on, it jumped ahead. In Illinois, when they revealed his banner, it was hung upside down. Kind of embarrassing. It's all over the net since yesterday. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Okay, thanks for elaborating on that story without me knowing. So that's why you're saying that they needed to do that? That's awful. That is like very embarrassing for sure. That's a fail. Somebody gonna lose a job over that. That's right. Cool Cat saying supporting global stars tonight. That's right. Let's go, Chuck. Let's go, Team Chuck. Charles Barkley. Let's go, Charles. Auburn, baby. War Eagle. Let's go, Charles. I want to see that team win, too. I think most of us are all rooting for Team Charles tonight. It's an easy team for us to cheer for, the global team, being the global team in the NBA from Toronto. And Siakam, how can we not root for our guy Siakam? We're going to be rooting for our former Raptors for sure. Yeah, Stargate saying Kyrie should be on the global team. He was born in Australia. He's a replacement. And in some ways, because Anthony Davis was on that team and he's replacing his Mavs teammate, that's why he gets put on that team. But you're right. Maybe they should work out a trade. Maybe they should trade Kyrie for Trae Young. And then Trae Young can be on that old team with them. But the thing is, it's kind of weird. If you do that, you don't get the reunion between Durant, Harden, and Irving from that glorious Brooklyn Nets experiment a couple years ago. We all want to see that, right? And Harden's there to boot. Come on now. Harden, Durant, Irving reunited, and it doesn't feel so good. I don't know, man. And then you got the reuniting of, LeBron and Kyrie involved in that too. So I think Kyrie being on the OG team, some people say he's fake Australian. I don't know. He's real Australian, isn't he? Why does he play for Australia? That'd be weird. Like, he should be playing for Australia, right? He plays for Team USA, doesn't he? I'm pretty sure he does. Pretty sure he does. Yeah, let's see. Trevor saying Pascal told the reporters he does not want to pay a fine. Yeah, Siakam was cheeky and funny and just very personable. In some ways, it's a mileage post for him and his career and his life. Being in that press conference at All-Star Weekend yesterday and getting barraged with all those reporters with no handler near him, no handler for him, and no moderator from the NBA to kind of say, this is the person asking the question or anything like that. Now, if you think about young Siakam, who was a rookie on our team a long time ago, and how shy he was, and just how much he was in his shell, in some ways, he didn't like doing interviews too much when he was young. And you look at the poise, maturity of where he's come to as a man at this point, from being a young man as a rookie on the Raptors. It's amazing, the journey, the confidence, the personality, and the way he carries himself. It was not necessarily an easy situation with dozens of reporters yelling questions at him, just like in a movie, paparazzi. Oh, Siakam, Siakam, Siakam. He's like, whoa, 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 hold on. Whoa, whoa. He was so cool about it. So cool about it. I love you, Siakam. And I love to see the man you've grown into and where you are at this point yesterday at that press conference for the All-Star weekend. So good, man. Fiercely saying, Brandon said it at his presser. He's looking forward to playing again, getting his body right, conditioning, contributing to the team, playing hard. He won't pull an Embiid who keeps ramping up to ramp up. I hope so. I hope you're right. And I think you'll be right. I trust in Dr. Alex like I trust in Darko and Masai and Scotty. So I'm going to trust in Dr. Alex. I'm going to trust in Brandon Ingram that he has good intentions, not to just collect the check and come and actually earn that money on the Raptors, excelling on the court. So there's a little bit of trust Raptors fans have to give to our people that are involved in our franchise to get what we want. And trust in Masai is always number one here. Oh, yeah. And we're going to trust Darko, too, in his system that he's building because we see the fruits of it starting to bloom already. And we're going to trust that Brandon is taking this contract and this money with the intention to be available, to be on the court, to play in that Raptors jersey. So we got to trust it all. That's right. That's right. Fiercely saying, yes, kudos to Mariah Amber. It's very, very cool. Very, very cool for her to excel for our team. In some ways, she's an all-star of in-game ops. And that's really cool. Cool Cat saying, I like the concept of the teams. Egos are involved. OGs won't want to lose to rookies. Global stars won't want to lose to the younger, hungry, emerging stars. It's totally going to work. I'm telling you right now, it's totally going to work. In some ways, the experimentation on the G League level with the target score stuff, the Elam ending, has had different results. It's a very interesting idea when you're not playing by a clock, but you're playing by a target score. It really does become more schoolyard because it's like you're playing to 21 against your friend on the driveway. And in some ways, that element will come out in these games today. Watch. It already did in the Rising Stars. And that's the test in the early part on Friday night. And that totally worked. Totally worked. Cool Cat, you're going to see it. I'm going to love it. And I'm going to love it. And we'll have a fun time watching it. That's right. Monique is saying W stream, W vibes. Go Raptors for life. Keep at it always, Lex. Raptor Freak Crew, strong forever. Just help limit the comments for Lex. I appreciate you, Mo. You're a fantastic producer and a huge help to my channel all the time, and I appreciate you. Kareem saying USA versus the world should be an all-star game. I think that they've thought about doing this. That could be actually a good format. They've tried different stuff. The schoolyard picking, East versus West is a historical one. I think they did do USA versus the world once, didn't they? I thought they did do that at some point recently. I mean, USA versus the world would be a very good matchup at this point. But I kind of like the quad of 4 teams. And I also like that it comes from the Friday night stuff. I think this is the right formula they got right now. I want to see this continue. If this sticks and this is really good this year, I want to see them stick to something for once and stop shaking it up and changing it every year. Because if this system works, they should keep it and keep going because it'll allow for tradition over time that, this is just the way we've done the All-Star game since 2025. And it's just it's the best way, honestly. You should have seen how the All-Star games were right before that. They were awful. And they weren't even trying. It was so bad. We can never go back to that. So I'm telling you, if this format works today, they need to lock it in and continue to do it forward. I like the format of a tournament. Some people may think it's too weird and awkward, but no, trust me, it's going to fix this. It's going to fix this. Seriously, it's gonna fix this. Let's see. Stargate saying, please don't go there with the whole NBA versus NHL talk. Fuck out of here. Two completely different scenarios, no comparisons. Yeah, I mean, I want to honor and respect hockey culture and say, that's fantastic. You guys had a great night last night. It's everybody can do anything and do whatever. I'm not going to hate on it. I'm not a basketball versus hockey to an extent. I think that this is great that they had a great event last night, and the NBA had their own event last night too. In some ways, they're apples to oranges, and in some ways, it's not worth comparing. And Stargate saying, "Are we now going back to the days where people were saying Vince Carter should be more like Steve Eiserman?" And yes, people used to call on the Fan 590 and make that bullshit comment. Fuck out of here. Stargate is always feisty, and I appreciate him for that. Yeah, they did used to call with some dumbass shit on the Fan 590. No lie. No lie. Kareem saying they said the Raptors was going to get Zion Williamson instead of Brandon, but due to tariffs, Toronto couldn't afford the price hike on oxtail since that's Zion's favorite food. Okay, you're telling a joke. In some ways, you're telling a joke about something that's sad and stupid. So I'm not going to laugh. But I will say this. I'll turn this around and say Grady Dick's favorite food in Toronto is oxtail patties. And that is what I have to say about this. So go on, Grady. You can't stop eating the oxtail patties in Toronto. Absolutely his favorite food right now. Oxtail patties. Forget about Zion. Thank God he's not coming to the Raptors. Thank God. Stargate saying, with respect, take all those hockey comparisons to basketball and shove it. That's feisty, like I was yesterday. I'll allow it. Kareem saying, I love Steve Eiserman. Detroit was my team in the early 90s. Brandon Shannon, Sergei Fedorov, Dino Ciccarelli. NHL was amazing in the 90s. Cool. Out of my wheelhouse of knowledge. Really, I only really paid really close attention to the NHL from like 2000 to about 2010 during the era, and I was paying attention to the Leafs very, very closely. Curtis Joseph, Matt Sundin, Steve Thomas, Darcy Tucker, Ty Domi era. I was very, very closely watching the Leafs, partly because I worked in the arena and I had to be around it. But yeah, I know some of those names, and I know the Red Wings is a very storied franchise. I do know that at least. So you guys are saying that he should have been like Steve Eiserman as far as staying with one franchise his whole entire career? Well, I can't disagree with that. I wish Vince had, but that wasn't in the cards apparently, and it didn't happen. So it is what it is. Cool Cat saying with NBA Global Gains, it was proud to see Siakam speaking in both French and English at the premier NBA event. Yeah, he really handled it well. Usually they do the French stuff at the end of it, but it was mixed in. And depending on the person asking the question, well, he was answering the question in French. And it really does make the global game more global sounding when people are using multiple languages in their press conferences at the NBA All-Star Weekend. So, yeah, that was fantastic. Siakam doing his French answers, of course. Blackhawks saying Bruce Brown got right on Raptors, so it will be a cakewalk for a BI. Yeah, I mean, I feel like Bruce took a long ass time though, but part of that was his fault taking his surgery right before the season started. That was kind of annoying. Smooth saying, at Stargate, basketball and hockey are different. When one sport does it right, though, you give them credit, in my opinion. Yeah, I'll give them credit. They did a good job last night. I think that in some ways he's just anti-hockey right now. We gotta allow him to do that. We can allow everybody to be kind of different. If Stargate wants to be anti-hockey, that's fine. I lean towards that in some ways, but I honestly I'm just trying to be loving towards whatever. And the hockey doesn't bother me as long as it's not trying to hurt Raptors as far as things. And their success with last night, I'm totally happy about it. It's really good. It's really good. I think that basketball is going to get their popularity, and I don't think we should be threatened by hockey doing good things, is what I would say, because basketball's got its own niche, its own audience. It's going to make its own money and do fine with or without what hockey success is. So I'm not worried about this. I'm not threatened by this. They may be threatened by the Raptors and the NBA in Canada, but we shouldn't be threatened by the NHL and itself overall, because the NBA and the Raptors are a huge, strong brand. And it's reflected in the fact that the Raptors franchise is the most valuable sports franchise in Canada. So some people say, I don't know if that's true anymore, Lex. I don't know if it is for sure, but I know it was a couple years ago. It should still be. I don't see it going down. I think the franchise value has only gone up, honestly. Maybe with losing, it goes down a little bit, but not too much. Seriously. Actually, I think I saw that the valuation for the Raptors franchise, even with losing in the last year, has still gone up, even if we have really bad win record right now. It's crazy. Let's see. Cream saying, in all fairness, Zion Williamson looks great. He lost weight and looks like he can play a full season with no hiccups. Well, I won't believe it until I see it, Cream. Fool me once, yeah, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, right? Nah, I'm not going to believe anything from Zion until the proof is in the pudding on the court and the minutes played and the stats acquired. That's all. That's all right there. Stargate saying, all I'm saying is don't compare and contrast anything to do with hockey with anything to do with basketball in any way, shape, or form. Just leave them each in their own space. I mean, it's natural to do that, though, Stargate. And, it's fine for them to do it as far as I'm concerned. But I understand what your point is. I think that there very much are apples to oranges. And there really isn't kind of a format that you can take from the hockey thing they did this weekend and put it into basketball exactly right. In some ways, you got to start thinking about FIBA rules and you got to start talking about FIBA sanctions when you start talking about teams that are national for representation. I don't know if the NBA can do that. They could do an official like Team USA versus Team World, maybe. But in some ways, like I said, I think the tournament format's going to be the thing that works, and that's part of what made it work for that tournament. Is there were 4 teams, and there's a tournament going on between 4 nations. I think that just having 4 teams instead of just 2 teams for the All Star is the thing that's fixing it right there. Right there. Kareem saying, yep, got to give credit where credit is due. MLB All-Star game is the best All-Star game from the 4 major sports. Yeah, the Pro Bowl is probably the worst one. The NFL one is just absolute waste of time. Seriously. Baseball was bad for a little bit, but they started really working on it with incentives and making it more entertaining, and they've done a good job. And I won't disagree with that. I think that all All-Star games go through this trouble of getting competitiveness out of their players in an exhibition game is tough because they're big money contract guys. They don't want to screw up and get hurt in a game like that. So they're really kind of pussyfooting around and they're not really going all out. Where's the balance of that? In some ways, part of the reason why the All-Star game got worse is because the contracts got bigger and the money's more bigger invested in them. There's a little bit more high stakes. Back in the day, the contracts weren't as big, and maybe the investment in the players is not as important in some ways for entertainment in the game and furthering the overall brand of the NBA. So some of that is the money's just gotten so good. These guys are so high priced players. They can't afford to get them hurt in an exhibition all-star game. So where's that balance of going all out without having any injury happen also? God forbid any important player today gets hurt because of competitiveness today. That's the balance that's really hard to kind of strike in the middle there with that. All right, let's go over the tabs real quick and we'll get out of here very shortly. Once again, they had the rankings for last night, and they gave Steph Castle an A- for his dunking, and they gave Mac McClung an A. And yeah, good job by Cleveland winning the skills championship, even though the Spurs got disqualified on a silly thing. I think it's hilarious. Honestly, I like that whole story. I think that's a really cool add to the legend of Wembanyama. That he went to the skills competition, tried to cheat, got disqualified. And I think that little chapter should be remembered and kind of noted for the future. And people can bring it up. Oh, yeah, you remember when you did the skills competition and you tried to cheat and you got disqualified? It's funny. He's a cheat code, right? They call him a cheat code. Well, he did a cheat code in the skills competition. And that's what happened there. Let's see. Is there anything interesting going on Blue Skies? I don't see anything here, really. Nothing too interesting here. Is there any news from many of our people? No, they're all on break. They're not really putting anything out these days, whether it's Grange or Blake Murphy. They're all on break, taking their time off. Happy birthday to former Raptor Herb Williams. Herb Williams was an original Raptor in the first season of the Raptors franchise. He was an add-on in a trade in the middle of the season with the New York Knicks that came to play for the Raptors, partly because he was a good close friend of Isaiah Thomas's, and he wanted to have another person on the team to kind of be around as an old vet. So happy birthday to the old vet, Herb Williams. It's your birthday today. I believe he is 50. No, he's older than 50. If he was born in 58, that means 68, 78, 88, 98. He's 66 today. 66. Herb Williams. Also, a happy birthday to former Raptors assistant coaches Craig Neal. Craig Neal's birthday's today. I believe he is 61 today. And then also happy birthday to former Germany national coach and former Raptors assistant coach and former Team Canada coach Gordon Hebert, Dennis Schroeder's guy that he got in a fight with when he was the coach of Germany. You know, you remember Gordon. Well, it's his birthday today also. And he is 65, no, 66 today. 66 today. So happy birthday, Herb, Craig, and Gordon. Yeah, those are the birthdays for today. All right, let's do a Raptors Reddit reaction. It looks like there's a very cool logo display in Kelowna, BC. So you know how they build these art out of like 2 fours of Coke and Sprite. They take the soft drinks displays in grocery stores and they build something with the boxes. Well, somebody made the Vince Carter Raptor Dunk logo out of pop boxes, and it looks really, really fantastic. Good job. They've got the certain kinds of Coke for the red and the black and the white and everything. It's really cool to see the Raptors logo in soda pop boxes on Raptors Reddit. That's pretty cool right there. Yeah, so yeah, that's what I'll react to there. Of course, we've seen the Recyclosaur has been around the city. It's a really interesting art piece done by a local Toronto artist that took recycled materials from the Scotiabank Arena, literally from our arena, took millions of pounds of it and formed it into a giant dinosaur sculpture that's been around the city in a couple different places in the last few weeks. It was down at Jurassic Park outside the arena for a while, and people could get their pictures taken. But now it's at the ROM, and it's in the same hall with the actual dinosaur bones that are at the ROM. So there's a nice, cool Recyclosaur that's at there. If you guys want to check it out at ROM, Royal Ontario Museum, you can go see the Recyclosaur, a Raptors sculpture made out of recycled parts from our arena that's in the form of a raptor. Really, really cool art project. You guys have seen the Recyclosaur yet? You guys got to go check it out and maybe go see it in person down there. That's right. All right, we got to do the classic car of the day, guys. That's where we're at now. I'm going to get this done right on time for 2 hours. This is great. No extracurriculars. I like getting nice, tight stream done. All right, let's see. Oh, okay. I think we've had this card recently. Exactly the same card. So I'm not going to do that one. Yeah, we'll do this one. This is a little bit hard, honestly. This is going to be a hard one. Okay, let's see. First person to write the full name answer of this classic basketball card will get Raptor Freak trivia points added to their total score. And it's really competitive. There's a lot of people getting scores, and they're rising up and going up higher. Remember, we're going to do a regular trivia on Tuesday. So if you guys are interested in playing Raptor Freak trivia, I'm going to have that for you Tuesday morning. We'll do a regular Tuesday trivia. All right, here we go. Here's your card of the day. This is a Detroit Piston, obviously, and it's a very easy card to see his face because it's like right there. And in some ways, I will give you guys some clues on how to get the name if you don't get it. Mark Aguirre. Isaac Campbell saying Mark Aguirre. That is not DePaul's Mark Aguirre, former Bad Boys champion with Isaiah Thomas and the Pistons at that time. This is a little bit after that era of Pistons, just so you know. This is probably post Isaiah. Isaiah retired and came to us, and this guy was on the Pistons then. But it's a good guess, Isaac, because that was a Piston, but it's not Mark Aguirre. Mark Aguirre was a forward. This guy's a guard. So there's a clue right there. This guy's a guard, if you can figure it out. He might have even been one of the replacements for Isaiah after he had to retire because of his injuries. So anybody who wants to get this, let's say this. He has the same first name as one of the great brothers, Canadian brothers from the movie Strange Brew. So if you know the movie Strange Brew and the great Canadian brothers that were in that movie, and you know one of their names, well, it's this guy's name. He has the first name of one of those two brothers from the movie Strange Brew. William Bedford's a great guess. He's not a center. I said he's a guard already, but he looks a little bit like William Bedford, and that's a great guess, Slug DZ, but it's not right. This is a guard, and he's not 7 feet tall like William Bedford. So, yeah, Doug Overton is right. There you go. Cream got it. It is Doug Overton, guys. He put Overtune, Overtune, but that's fine. Doug Overton is the right card. Kareem's going to get it, and it's going to be a 200-point card because this is not an easy card. Yeah, Doug Overton is the card. There's a lot of text on the back of it. There you go. Classic card of the day gotten by Kareem Thomas. Let me go see where your score is with that. Let's see. Doug Overton, and you are Kareem. You've gotten 2 days in a row, Kareem. Good job. 200 for this one, though. Craig Elo and Doug Overton. 2 days in a row. There you go, dunk champion. There you go. All right, y'all, let's wrap it up. Thanks for watching the Raptor Freak channel today. A recap for All-Star Saturday night. Fantastic stuff, Mac McClung. Let's see if you come back for a fourth competition next year. Maybe you have some all-star competitors against you, like John Morant and Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I'd be awesome. I'd love that. I'd love to see that. We'll see some big stars come back and try and do the dunk contest for once. That'd be cool. Norman, valiant effort in the three-point shootout. At least you're there. You got name recognition. You got the accolade of coming to All-Star Weekend. I know it's not what it should have been. You should have been an All-Star. I agree with you, man. But it is what it is. Hilarious stuff from Giannis pushing the ladder, and then also hilarious stuff from Victor and Chris. I don't look at that as a fail. I look at that as a genius try, but you didn't get it. And in some ways, it's just part of the lore that's going to be added to the alien. The big man, the cheat code was cheating yesterday. And well, Victor, you just added another little story to your legend. And yeah, it was cool. You know, Chris Paul understands the NBA screwing him over. Trust me, he does. He does. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Tomorrow I'll have reaction to the All-Star game on the Monday stream, 9:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. I went a little early today because I was like set up. I was like, I'll start early. Why not? All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, join the channel if you feel like it. Membership can have its privileges. We're going to have to figure out. They're going to be changing this year because things are shifting around a little bit. But we'll figure out what those privileges are. Either way, thanks for watching, and I'll be back tomorrow. Raptorize your day. Let's go, Raptors. Always. Let's go, Raptors. Let's go, Team Canada basketball. And let's go, Team Canada hockey. Why not? And let's go, Toronto Tempo and Raptors 905. Those are the teams we root for here. Let's go, Raptors. I'm proud of you, Grady. Good job this weekend. Let's go, Siakam. Let's get this today. Let's go.